I don't know, Naughty Dog just has this problem with leaking. Do you know how the Kardashians did it? That was quite smart. They need to give different information to like different people, like, you know, very different, and see which information comes to light, and that way you know who you said that specific thing to. So last week new footage came out showing actual the intro scene, if you remember, from The Last of Us, you know, where Joel carries his daughter and blah blah blah. So all the facial animations and stuff like that, and it looked good. It looked like very, you know, current with how The Last of Us Part 2 is, and that's what they said they wanted to do, you know, just upgrade the graphics and basically the gameplay, right? We're gonna watch this video in a minute. So basically, yeah, he jumped on the bandwagon saying, you know, that they didn't deliver what they promised to, because this week actually some new gameplay footage, not the one that's been released today by Sony, but leaked gameplay footage, and people are like, this is not the gameplay that you promised to upgrade, blah blah blah, it looks the same like the old one, and blah blah blah. So this is the part that pissed me off, right?
When this game was first announced, and I really did mean this. I guess a part of me just wanted to believe that there was more here, right? Like there was more than what meets the eye, because I was telling everybody, look, we want to be really careful here with a game like The Last of Us Part 1, because if we pay $70 for this, if we just accept this, if we just say this is okay and this is good, we have to really think about the message that we're sending Sony.
Right.
And at that time, again, I kind of was a little bit hesitant, or, you know, maybe I just calmed down a little bit and I said, well, maybe we just need to see the gameplay.
Yeah.
And I really thought
fair.
that in my head. You know, I thought, you know, if they actually made some serious changes to the gameplay and it feels just greatly improved and it really feels like they really just did rework the gameplay from the ground up. Sure, it's going to be the same game, the same story, but that could be a big difference maker. And maybe that's why they're going to charge $70.
Listen.
And I just kind of held.
People tend to forget that it's not just the game, it's the DLC as well. Plus, it's a PS5 release, so it only makes... I mean, I'm defending it because it only makes sense. All PS5 games, big like this, open... Well, is this open world? It's not really. It's very linear, but it's like it has a DLC attached to it. And you get a bit of extra content from what I heard. So this... everybody's complaining about the £70 markup for a game that's been out from, you know, forever ago, 2013, which I get, but at the same time, it's a, you know, ground up complete remake, and he's complaining that the gameplay is not the same.
That, you know, in the back of my mind is a possibility, and now it's been confirmed that that's not the case. They're out here trying to charge $70 for the same exact game, and I know that there are going to be people that are like, this is surprising to you? You didn't see this coming? Like, no, actually, I didn't. Because I didn't think Sony had the audacity to actually do this. I didn't think Naughty Dog would be okay with this. I didn't think Naughty Dog was willing to just sacrifice their reputation in the name of extracting as much money.
How is this sacrificing their reputation? How is this a cash grab? They're working on other projects that they're kind of gonna come out. Like, I don't understand why people are so frustrated. All the other developers do the same thing, but nobody gets as much shit as Naughty Dog does, in my opinion.
From your customer base, from your fan base, as you possibly can. And I think what really bothers me more than anything about this situation is that this is on another level. This is Sony trying to take the mile. And what I mean by that is we gave them an inch, now they're trying to take the mile. Because there have been situations in the past with remakes and remasters where, you know, some people are a little bit upset, some people are questioning this, but it's kind of walked this, you know, fine line where it's like, okay, I guess it's okay. I guess it's passable, right? Like, it's not the worst thing ever.
Dude, nobody is making you... Yeah, I think he's trolling, but nobody is making you buy the game. Like, why are people so upset? This is... Okay, so in my opinion, this is a game for people, basically, that haven't really played The Last of Us, right? And only probably played The Last of Us Part 2 because it's a newer game. It happens. People do tend to do that. They're not like me or you, very anal about like starting from like playing the first game, and then, you know, some people do. It's like not playing Uncharted, the first 3, because you wanted just to play the Uncharted. So stuff like that, this happens. And they put out this game just for, well, first mainly for people that haven't played it before, but also for hardcore fans like myself. If you want to buy it, it's there. It's upgraded, it's up to standards. They even made basically some parts, like flashbacks, if you may, that would connect part 2 to part 1, but they weren't in part 1 because obviously they added that on in part 2, if that makes sense. You still rather working them on new projects than remaking old games? Yes, but that's what I'm trying to explain. They are still doing that. Like, they are a huge studio, but people, they put this out. If you want it, you can get it. If don't. But people like him just keep it. So basically he's talking about how frustrated he is that Sony is cash grabbing, or that Naughty Dog did a remake for 18 minutes and it's boring. So we're gonna stop there, because this part just annoyed me, because I just thought, listen, like, don't buy it. Like, what's the big deal? Why are people so upset? They just get so invested in, well, listen to me. I'm clearly so invested. Right, so let me show you, because he's going on about that Neil Druckmann said that the gameplay is gonna be better and blah, blah, blah. So this is what Neil Druckmann said in the Summerfest presentation. This is why I ignore dumb videos with leaks and dumb shit like this until I hear from the devs themselves. Exactly, that's what they did with The Last of Us Part 2. Everybody came out saying about, oh my god, this person died and it's a shit game. How could they do this? I actually enjoyed The Last of Us Part 2. Yes, a favorite beloved character died, but then again, it had a freaking great story and it was so emotional. I feel like, even because Red Dead Redemption 2 is my favorite game, it even surpassed the emotions that I had for Red Dead Redemption 2, the ending. Like, truly, like, it was a masterpiece in my eyes. Right, this is what Neil said.
About the idea, or really what's happening is, it looks like you guys are remaking the original game, and this is like a ground up remake, is that right?
That's right. We wanted to give people the definitive version of the first game that wasn't encumbered by any technology. Wanted to find a way to get even closer to our original vision, and we're able to do it on the PS5 and PC. And instead of talking about it, let's look at it.
All right, let's take a look at The Last of Us Part 1.
So he basically said just ground one remake and give the players an experience that they never had before with the new gameplay, right? I think that's all he says. And that's what this guy MVG clinged on.
Guys, what's your reaction to that?
Right, so I wanted you just to see that, basically, because like in the beginning, he just talks about the HBO, Neil Druckmann, that is this guy. He just talks about the HBO TV show, because he's actually directing it as well, which is quite cool. And they are both in it. I think Ashley is going to be Ellie's mom, playing Ellie's mom. And I don't know who Joel is, Troy Baker will be. But anyway, it's going to be cool to see. And lastly, this is what they are gonna deliver. And in my opinion, when they say new and improved gameplay, like, they did deliver that. So I think they had this prepared, right? This video that you're gonna see in advance, obviously, because you can't put a video like this up like within a day, but because of the leaks and everybody coming out yesterday, they put it up today. But maybe they were waiting until August, because usually the gameplay comes out a month before the release, from what I know and understand. Right, so let's just watch. If you haven't seen it, this is The Last of Us Part 1, rebuild for PS5, features and gameplay trailer, basically. And I mean, I think they delivered. Listen, you decide. But they said improved gameplay.
More than 2 years ago, when we were finishing Last of Us Part 2,
it's time-consuming,
and we were working on those flashbacks within that scene for the first game, we got excited with the idea of like, oh man, what if we made The Last of Us Part 1 to look as good, if not better, than what we have done with Last of Us Part 2, which we really pushed the boundaries of like what we could do from gameplay and a graphical standpoint, and felt like if we do that, we could actually come even closer to our original vision of what the first game would have been had we not been constrained by technology.
The original creative vision of The Last of Us, I think in a lot of ways was larger than what the PlayStation 3 was capable of.
The tech of the
look at
PS5,
it.
it's like an open box of
looks
tools
great.
and goodies that we can play from and draw from. The 4K, HDR, improved haptics, 60 frames, help us to reimagine The Last of Us.
It does look good. Like, you can't deny
It gave us
Look at that.
opportunities to
What a
rebuild our
difference.
characters at the highest fidelity.
Yeah, and they
Not
look
only are the characters more
like
detailed,
how
I
they
mean
should,
down
I
to
guess.
the irises and the pupil depth. You know, you fall into the eyes of the characters.
Yeah.
Aside from that, the facial animation is just way more believable. Like all the nuance.
Yeah. I have to say the facial animation in The Last of Us is on point. I haven't seen anything like it, especially in part
It's
2.
all the little subtle reactions, glances, glares, right? Like you get all of it almost closer to sort of the original performances.
So no matter what, you stick to me like glue. Like glue. Like glue. Got it. Good. Good.
We are able now to not only just have the highest fidelity characters in the cutscene, but also in gameplay. It's the same character, so now we can do these seamless transitions in and out. Every part of the game has benefited from seamless transitions and emotional scripting.
Pretty good, huh?
Our stories happen in gameplay,
Looks great, man.
on a stick.
She knew my mom.
Yeah. Just
All
wait
this
until they
stuff
get
is
to your gameplay.
designed to keep you constantly in this world.
Riley, come here. Now you got this. Go.
Obviously, the Riley thing is from the DLC.
One of the things
Left
that the
Behind, it's
PlayStation
called.
5 is really enabling is that we're able to have a density of physics objects in a scene that we could never do before. Like, this has always been the dream, is to have this number of bumpables, chippables, breakables, destructible objects in a scene. It just makes
Oh,
the
yeah.
world feel rich, makes it feel lived in.
Did it not have
Materials
this in
can
the
have the
remastered
properties
version?
that you'd expect. The turret truck
Wow.
in Pittsburgh, when it's
Very
firing
realistic.
at you and it's just ripping apart the concrete and sending objects flying left and right.
Seeing things break, like there's fear, there's a real fear that it invokes.
And it's giving us a much more dynamic range of gameplay to play with.
Surround him!
Our AI tech has just increased incredibly.
yeah.
What we were building the basis off of was The Last of Us Part 2's AI.
So this is
and
all
it has
gameplay.
sophisticated systems for things
Under
like
the umbrella.
fundamental knowledge model of how these NPCs perceive and understand what the player is much more sophisticated.
Now how the enemies are communicating with each other, how they're chasing you, how they're flanking you, how intense that fight feels. It's so much more rewarding coming out of it from the other side.
Get out!
Oh yeah,
One
the
of the other
sniper
big
mission.
AI improvements is the buddies. The buddies technology that we developed for The Last of Us Part 2 has this very sophisticated understanding of like, okay, this is where the enemies
hi,
can see their
Texan.
exposure.
Tikasin.
We not only have exposure, we have future exposure. So buddies can know, okay, that enemy is walking forward and they're about to round this corner. So in 3 seconds, that corner is going to be exposed. So I'd better
There you
move
go.
now to avoid this enemy seeing me. This really lets the buddies make very complex decisions and maintain that feeling of stealth much more believably. Another
Okay.
big enhancement to the gameplay is that we have this technology called motion matching. Motion matching is this technology that's basically using logic that tries to match the desired movement to a bucket of hundreds of animations. A mocapped actor has gone in and run this whole gauntlet of movements to get a really full set of
you know, I
all the
didn't
different ways a
realize
person
how
can
much
move. And then it's basically every frame
math
trying to find
goes
the
into
best
a game.
matching animation that fits the path of where the character is going to go. And this motion model just gives this really seamless sense of transition. The player's movement is just a lot
my God, this
cleaner. It's this
mission.
really smooth, organic movement through the space.
That's quite cool.
First,
Like,
we just
oh
had
my
to
god, I didn't know
build that
that's
core
how they filmed
experience.
that.
And then beyond that, we wanted to add several features
Additional
that fans have been asking
gameplays,
for.
see render modes.
For example, we now
obviously-
have a permadeath mode.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Along that,
for
we've added a
people.
brand new speedrun mode.
might do
so
that on
players
stream,
can time
actually.
themselves. There's a whole community of gamers
See
that
how
just
long I
want to
last.
see
What do you
how
think?
fast they can play through this game. Beyond that, we added a bunch
Yeah.
more of unlockables. So there's all these different outfits for Ellie and Joel that
Oh,
people
wow.
can unlock.
That's
A model
cool.
viewer mode, so people could really appreciate the details We added award-winning accessibility features.
Every single accessibility option that we offer, that's a barrier removed for someone.
As she surveys the apartment, her eyes wander to Joel. She steps past the couch. He wears the wristwatch Sarah gifted him, which now has a cracked face.
To my knowledge, this is the first PlayStation game that has audio description built into the game, built into the cinematics.
Cool.
Now it's nighttime. Joel stirs in his sleep.
And that's really the way we've tried to push the frontier of accessibility on this game.
There you go.
So much of the identity of The Last of Us is the world.
For sure. For sure.
We revamped completely the art direction.
I've been tempted to speedrun The Last of Us, but I'm afraid I wreck Resident Evil though. Yeah, oh, okay. Did you do Resident Evil too? That's quite cool. I am too afraid to do Resident Evil, but I kind of want to try to do permadeath, see how long I last.
You know, everything from
On The Last of Us.
these expansive vistas that not only are they beautiful, but you feel the environments. You feel the environments in a much more visceral way. The rooftops overlooking the Capitol building, for example, like just the breath of fresh air when you go up there and you just like, you feel that sort of release in tension.
This is right in the beginning.
And then, you know, to juxtapose that down in the tunnels in Wilds, and you get that dank, flooded tunnel feel, that humidity, you can actually feel it. All these environments are just completely reimagined.
Now we got our engine on the PS5, those haptics, the 3D audio, the fast loading. It really creates a much more immersive, and because of that, much more emotional experience.
But did they do the rebuild or remake it on the Unreal Engine 5? It looks like it because of all the tiny details that you could see in like how they added. But I don't think it says anywhere.
One of the things I absolutely love with the 3D audio in The Last of Us Part 1 is being able to hear an enemy before they sneak up on you. And trying to do a stalker fight with the 3D audio is just so much fun. You're hearing them skitter around in a different room, and you're hearing them trying to get it behind you. Having that two-part reaction of like hearing, turning, seeing, reacting, it's just really heightens that sense of just being grounded. You are in this character, you are in this world.
I don't remember stalkers being down
with the
here.
PlayStation 5, the amount of control that developers have over the DualSense, it's really, really cool. All the guns in the game have a variable amount of resistance on the triggers when you aim them. The way it works with the bow is that at the very beginning, when they're starting to draw the bow, there's a little bit of resistance. And then...
I mean, you get it. There's a bit left. They show you how, because the upgrade thing for the guns is the same as in The Last of Us Part 2 now, and I think that's the main difference. And obviously they talk a shit ton about the haptic feedback, which we all know is great on the PlayStation 5. It's like one of the best features that they did, in my opinion. So yeah, in a minute, I'm gonna need another minute to think of what the heck I was gonna say, because nowadays I just forget. I don't know. I guess like how Ellie sprints and kills the enemies is what he wanted to see. But more than that, like it's just, I don't know what they expect. Okay, but there's loads of people complaining. The game itself looks incredible, no doubt, but they didn't really change or add anything to the game in terms of set pieces. Well, why would they? It's a remake of the see what? Okay, I'm just gonna go away because this just infuriates me. Right.